All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. The men on the highways doing the work of truth and sincerity. All the remnant men, women, and children of the elect. Shalom. My name is Ahmawan Ahyash. I want to come to you with a lesson, and I'm gonna jump right into it. All right, this video I came across on X, formerly known as Twitter, and you see who it's from. Okay, I'm not sure if it's the smartest thing to mention his name, because this man is being flagged for everything. Okay, on all different platforms, all different algorithms. It's probably not the best thing to mention his name, but you see it. And this video he's gonna go into, it's a 23-minute video. I'm only gonna play the first minute just to get the idea of the point in this video. But the feds are proposing, as you can see here, it says breaking feds propose bringing back national draft for war with Russia. Okay.
For military draft.
Unless you've been under a rock somewhere, which I gotta say, a lot of our people, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you guys live in freaking La La Land, man. Or all you can think about is, yourself and being in this world and your drive and your lust for money and for, things that don't serve you spiritually. Okay. And, but if have your eyes open even somewhat, you know that there's a lot of talk about World War III, about a war with Russia, okay, Iran, and you got other nations like China, North Korea. They're all talking about their nuclear weaponry, their arsenal, their defense missile systems. All these things are being spoken about. That's the spirit, that's the vibration going on in this world right now. Okay, that along with the other prophecies that are in the book. All right, which is why they're prophecies, right? That's why the word of the Lord is coming to pass. Prophecies coming to pass, and Yahawashi is starting to really reveal the will of the Lord through the word, through the prophets, through the men who are out there teaching and prophesying, starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. But this is more information. This is more measuring the times. Okay, measure the times so that we can understand where we're at in prophecy and where we're headed. All right, in this particular video, Alex Jones is going to go into, sorry, I said his name anyway, but he's going to go into what the feds are proposing as far as bringing back the draft for a war. All right. And so yeah, I'm gonna play the video, like the first minute. I got a couple of scriptures lined up, and I'm gonna go into just real quick a couple articles. So here we go.
Lawmakers want to automate selective service registration for military draft. It's up on Infowars.com. House lawmakers considering a plan to automate selective service registration for all men. Oh, how discriminatory. Democrats proposing women as well when they reach the age of 18, making the process of national draft easier and eliminating potential consequences associated with manual filing of the paperwork. That's right. They'll sign you up right away. The new draft of the House Armed Services Committee, I guess pun intended, the new draft of the House Armed Services Committee Annual Defense Authorization Bill would mandate all men between the ages of 18 and 26 should be automatically registered in the Selective Service System. The Selective Service System hasn't been used for over half a century since the Vietnam War, but men who fail to register face various penalties, including forfeiture and eligibility for federal programs or even jail time. Well, just claim you're a woman. I guess that's going to come in handy.
He's a clown. But anyway, yeah, man. So what the feds are proposing is bringing back the draft, obviously, because they are preparing for the Third World War, right? And in the article, in the video, Alex Jones was mentioning something called the Selective Service. And if you don't know anything about the Selective Service, basically it's what they use to register people for just in case there is a draft, right? So you can get registered different ways through, and I know firsthand about the Selective Service through my job, and I know students who are applying for federal financial aid. There used to be a question on the what's called the FAFSA application, where they would ask you, "Are you registered for Selective Service?" Okay, and if you weren't, if you were aged in between the ages of 18 and 26, as you mentioned, if you weren't, they would register you in order for you to actually be eligible for aid. Okay, so it was kind of like a stipulation to a degree. It was a condition of applying for, this federal financial aid. So with the Selective Service, you would be registered with them. In case the draft happened, they would have your information. Okay, they will be able to reach out to you when you would be called. When it's time for you to be called. If there's a war, if the United States declares that there's a war and they need your service, they'll get in touch with you. Okay, and it would be your national duty, your duty as a citizen to answer the call. All right, answer the bell, so to speak. Okay. So that's what is on the table. Okay, why is that on the table? You got to ask yourself, why is that on the table? Why are the feds proposing bringing back the draft? Bringing back the draft. Okay, so what I did is I went to Google and I typed in countries drafting for war 2024. Okay, and as you can see, you got these countries here. Okay, and I'm just going to hit this really quick, kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. All right, real quick, this is from populationreview.com. It says countries with mandatory. Okay, very, very important. Countries with mandatory military service 2024. It says most nations in the world have some form of military. However, the methods used to fill the ranks of those armed forces vary from one country to the next. Primary methods of recruiting include the following: voluntary enlistment. All right, so citizens choose the military as their employer and serve their country as their job or career, widely regarded as one of the most preferable and socially responsible methods of maintaining a military force. So people going in and signing up for service on their own. Mandatory service, okay, which is kind of what I want to highlight. All males and sometimes all females as well of a certain age must serve their country for a minimum amount of time, usually 1 to 3 years, typically employed by militaries with the greatest need or the most autocratic leaders. Now, conscription and draft, another part I want to highlight, which is what Alex Jones was just going into. The draft process uses selective service and things of that nature, right? A variation on mandatory service in which everyone in a certain demographic group, typically males, 18 to 35, must register as eligible for military service. Okay? So a particular age you must register for as eligible for military service, but the possibility exists that they will not be called to active duty. Okay, and that's an important part of this, right? The possibility exists that they will not be called to active duty, referred to as being drafted or conscripted, particularly in times of peace. And that's the time that we are not in. Okay, right now we are not in the time of peace. We are in the time of war. Okay, we see what's happening right now, going on with the conflict with Iran and Israel. All right, you got Hamas, Palestine, you have Russia and Ukraine, all of these different all of these different words is escaping my mind right now. Salakia. But you got all these different types of wars, smaller version of wars. The term is just escaping my mind. That's going on right now. A lot of conflict going on, which is all going to be the lead up or the build up to World War III. Okay. Now it says here. Let me see. Selective compulsory service. In many conscription systems or draft systems, the selection of recruits is random or lottery driven. In selective compulsory systems, however, candidates are deliberately chosen and called into service only to meet a particular area of need. For instance, medical personnel, mechanics, or pilots. And that's not going to be the case once this thing really pops off. All right, because these nations are going to get active, and your service is going to be required. You know what I mean? It ain't going to be voluntary. It's going to be mandatory. Okay, now as you scroll down, all right, I want to highlight the different countries who are, preparing for that. Okay, now in the Washington Post just 2 days ago, Myanmar's military junta starts conscription, okay, or draft, right? And draft age men flee, right? Really quick, it says, young men flee Myanmar in panic. I hate the Washington Post. Young men flee Myanmar. All right, it's not gonna let me read it, but anyway. I'll just read it from here. It says tens of thousands have left for Thailand after Myanmar's military, facing repeated battlefield losses, announced its aim to conscript 60,000 men, okay, for service, right? And these men are fleeing their countries because they don't want to go to war. Okay, Al Jazeera, the UK Sunak eyes national service. What is it, and which countries have it? Let's real quick. UK Sunak, okay, which is the Prime Minister of the UK, eyes national service. What is it and what countries have it? The proposed national service scheme is not the same as conscription, but gives youth an opportunity between mandatory military and civil service. All right, and this is from May 28th. This is just a couple days ago. All right, UK's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has pledged to bring back mandatory national service. Okay, so that's being highlighted right now. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has pledged to bring back mandatory national service if the governing Conservative Party wins the July 4th national election, prompting a nationwide debate on policy Britain abandoned more than 60 years ago. Why would you propose to bring back mandatory national service? Because this is the time that we're in. We're in the time of war. Okay? Through the Spirit, we are in the time of war. Okay? I'm not going to read a large part of these articles. I'm just going to skip through them. Okay? Look at this. As Germany molds military service return, what about Europe? Okay? U.S. military draft. What do you need to know? Who is eligible for postponement in the draft May 2024? All right? Look at this. From the conversation. Military conscription is returning to Europe. Now it's saying throughout all Europe. Why? Because these countries are preparing for war. Military conscription is returning. This is from theconversation.com. Military conscription or military draft is returning to Europe. What is it really? But is it really a more equal way of mobilizing? All right. Real quick, it says several NATO member countries, including Latvia, have reintroduced conscription, and others such as Sweden and Estonia have recently extended it to reach more people as the threat of a possible Russian advance increases. So NATO and these nations that are in NATO, they are preparing for Russia to make their move. Okay, so all of these nations that are in all of these NATO nations, okay, so NATO as a group, they're preparing for war. Okay, they're preparing for war. And when you prepare for war, you got to have your draft in order. Okay, you got to get your citizens prepared. Got to get training done. Got to get your servicemen lined up. That's what we're seeing. Okay. Again, I'm not going to go into it deep as far as the article. 144, Kal Halal Yahawah. Yeah. See this? Ukraine war. Right? South China Morning Post, Ukraine war. Russia to begin spring military draft and amid mobilization fears. Right? Vladimir Putin issued a decree last year that ordered the overall size of the army to be increased to 1.32 million troops from its previous level of 1.15 million. That's another 200,000 men. Okay, Russian men aged between 18 and 30 are eligible to be called up after lawmakers increased the upper age limit from 27 last year. Military service lasts 12 months, so you got a year mandatory. Okay, look at this. Zelensky signed news. CNN. This is from just April. Okay, literally 2 months ago. Zelensky signs law expanding draft age as Ukraine struggles to beef up its military. Okay, so this is the energy. This is the vibration behind what's going on. All right, this is what we're seeing. Couple scriptures, man. Couple scriptures. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, and verse 14. It says, the second woe was past, and behold, Salaki, the second woe was past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right? And make no mistake about it, man. We are at the end of this thing. The last few major prophecies are coming to pass. You got Jacob's trouble, you got the MOTB, and you got World War III, man. Okay, and then ultimately the salvation for the elect, man. Being beamed up in Judah's chariots, man. The return of Yahawashi. But World War III represents the downfall and destruction of America, Babylon the Great. It represents the downfall and destruction of Esau, Edom's kingdom, the end of his age, the end of his rulership. All right? And that's a big part of what the men, the prophets, the servants of Yahawashi are out in the highways and the byways to do, to prophesy the downfall and destruction of this place. All right? And the scriptures have us measuring the times and blowing the trumpet and warning you so-called Black, Latinos, Native Americans to get right and turn back to Yahawashi before it's too late. Okay? These doors of mercy are open as we speak, but they won't be open for so much longer. And the end is near. Okay? And salvation is nigh. And there's a harsh, brutal, fiery judgment for those who are not slated to be a part of the Lord's elect. Okay? And that's what we're reading about. That's what we're talking about now. Okay? The countless amount of videos that are going up from the men of the Lord constantly, namely from the men of Great Millstone, because these are the men who are diligent about serving the Lord, about putting out the warning concerning these things that are coming to pass, these prophecies. Right? So it's going to behoove you to take heed. Right? That's what we're talking about. Again, Revelation 11:14. The second woe was past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. That third woe is that third destruction, that third world's war. All right? There ain't going to be no plans to upset the prophecies. Okay? This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, and verse 1. It says, the nations will be judged. See that caption? Right? Because this is the judgment for the nations that is attached to World War III. It says, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather the nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay, which in the Hebrew is Yahawashi, which is the Lord's judgment, the Lord's decision, Yahweh's decision. All right, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. All right, and the Lord is purposing for these nations that we're reading about to gather in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay? And it will be there where a big part of this war will take place, with the ICBM nuclear missiles being shot off from one end of the earth to the other. And many of them, they hit their main target, which is America, which is Babylon the Great. Make no mistake about it. The Lord has purpose for this place to be destroyed, and it will be destroyed. All right. All of this war talk ain't happening for nothing. All of these nuclear missiles and the arsenals that these countries are gathering is not going to be all for naught. It's not going to be for, these nations to gather this arsenal so they can collect dust. These missiles, these nuclear missiles will be used. They will be shot off. They will hit their target, and the Lord's will shall be done. All right, make no mistake about that. Got one more precept, and then I'll close it out. The book of Zephaniah, chapter 3, in verse 8, it says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahawah, Ba'ashem Al-Shai, until that day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms and pour upon them mine indignation." All right, the Lord's indignation is going to come through those thermonuclear missiles. All right, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. The spirit of the Lord is going to be in those missiles. All right, the Lord's fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Okay? And that's how the Lord is coming. That's how Yahweh is coming in these last days. The Lord is angry with this place. Okay? And the ultimate judgment will be fire. So when you see this war talk, it doesn't matter what the platform is, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's X, TikTok, CNN, all right, any of these podcasts that you see going on, you better do what you can to take heed, man. All right, a lot of that shit is smoke and mirrors, and a lot of you gotta take some of this stuff with a grain of salt. But as the elders and apostles always say, chew the meat, spit out the bones, man. Right? And the best way to do that is to take heed to the warning going out by the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai. All right? Subscribe to the elders, subscribe to the apostles, subscribe to these men who are preaching this word, man. Because it's only a matter of time where you're not really going to have that choice anymore. That choice won't be available. All right? That's why the scriptures tell us to observe the opportunity. The opportunity is in front of you, and it's here. But it won't be for too much longer. Because we are at the end. We are absolutely at the end of this thing. And the Wadi Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai for giving us the eyes to see and the ears to hear. Okay, the spirit to believe. The spirit to do the work of Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai so we can exercise our faith in that way, and hopefully we endure to the end, man. Okay? And that's the message, man. Get with Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai, and may the Lord's will be done, man. All right? So, man, hey, look, with that, I'm going to end it off there. As always, I hope you were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.